fact is, we often think we're really strong until someone else pushes us and shows us that we're not. Israel was tested, was humbled by God for 40 years in the wilderness. That was a huge test for them, as our passage will bear out as we walk through it. But you know what the real test was that was coming for God's people? You know what the ultimate challenge was going to be for them? Was prosperity and ease. That was going to be the real challenge. That's why God gives them this warning. It's when we are financially secure and prosperous, and there's zero stress, and the hardship disappears, and there's no heartache, and there's no church trouble, and respect and encouragement from everybody in our lives. That's the test of all tests, as we're going to see here. Proverbs 24:10, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. What's behind that verse? You don't really know how strong you are until you're tested, until you're pushed. Deuteronomy, this book is Moses' final address to Israel after the 40 years of wilderness wandering, before they entered the promised land. Its overall purpose, this book of Deuteronomy, is to restate God's law and a Sinaitic covenant to that new generation. It is an earnest plea to the people of God to obey his law. Obey the Lord as you go into the land here. And the name Deuteronomy comes from two Greek words, deuteros, meaning second, and nomos, meaning law. So Deuteronomy is second law. It's a reiteration of the law given at Mount Sinai, and a very strong exhortation to the people of Israel to keep that law and to teach it to their children, to their grandchildren, to make sure they walk in God's ways. And as I said, why this earnest appeal to do this? Because Israel's greatest test would soon be upon them, and that would be prosperity. How many of you all have said at various times in your life, or maybe even lately, Father, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you up to? Israel asked this kind of question a lot in their history, in as many words, several moments in their history. Exodus 14, after the Exodus, and they're up against the Red Sea, and it says here in Exodus 14:11, the people said to Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you so dealt with us to bring us out of Egypt? Father, what's going on? What's going on here? Why are you doing this? When they were thirsty at Marah, after the parting of the Red Sea, what shall we drink? We're thirsting to death. When they were hungry later in chapter 16, oh, that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat and we ate bread to the full, for you have brought us out into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. The people complained. They questioned God a lot. What's going on? Why are you doing this? They wanted to know. More basic to their existence and to our existence is God and God's word. That's the main lesson being taught there. God is more important to our life than food is. Israel was entirely dependent upon a daily miracle during those 40 years. Those people were destitute. They were without any way of getting or providing food for themselves in the wilderness. It was a wilderness, a place of desolation, just like the place that Jesus was during his 40 days of testing in the wilderness, mirroring Israel's 40 years in the wilderness. Jesus, the true Israel's 40 days in the desert. No food, nothing to eat. But contrary to Israel, Jesus refused to complain or even turn a rock into bread so that he could eat.